Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio today. It's Dr. Laurie Schubert. She's a sports nutritionist from Nutrition HeartBeat. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
This is so neat. Tell me about Nutrition HeartBeat. What is it?
Nutrition HeartBeat is a full-service sports nutrition company. So we work with all ages of athletes, and we can do any help with any sport in that you can find in the Chicago area. So team sports, endurance sports, strength and power sports, and skill sports. And we use sports nutrition to take an athlete to the next level. So that might be junior varsity to varsity, or semi-pro to pro, or it might be getting on the podium, or even just getting off the couch. So any next level, we can work with that.
That's awesome. And we're going to talk about nutrition in a second, but tell me a little bit how you got started in this whole game.
So I started out as an analytical chemist, and it was my first job, and right away I started looking for a way out of that. And so I looked at grad school programs for chemistry, and they're pretty tough. And I was sitting in my office one day, and I was reading Muscle and Fitness, and they had an article on nutrition, and it was like a light bulb went off. And that was it. I was sold on it, and I've been all in on nutrition and all of its aspects for over 20 years now.
That's wonderful. So talk to me a little bit about how does nutrition make that difference? I think sometimes we just all take it for granted. How does it make that difference for that athlete to get to that next level?
Okay, so if you fuel with a real food diet most of the time, then you are prepared for each workout, and you recover from each workout with the full variety of vitamins, minerals, macronutrients, micronutrients, and that will incrementally make you improve for each workout. So if you do that over the course of a season or over the course of a career, you will be far ahead of the people that are relying on supplements, relying on fast food, relying on junk food, because you are fueled, and your muscles will be stronger, your bones will be stronger, and your brain, it will support your brain in terms of learning strategy and staying mentally tough.
So that sounds great, but it also sounds a little complicated, and that's where you come in. So
yes.
if I'm that athlete and I'm thinking that I'm doing really well, but I know nutrition is going to help me get there, what's my next step to get in contact with you, and what do you do to help me? Okay,
so I have a website, nutritionheartbeat.com, and on that website I have a list of free snacks that you can download and use for different scenarios. I also have a sports nutrition tip on multiple platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and carefully curated sports foods on Pinterest. And then you can contact me through my website. We make an appointment, and I can either meet in person or I can do a video chat.
Okay.
And basically we figure out what the person's issue or goal is, and then I come up with the guidelines for that, and we figure out where the person is in relation to the guidelines, and we start improving their nutrition to move them closer to the guidelines.
And because you have that PhD in there,
yes,
that helps you with, because people may have a couple medical issues coming with them, so
yes,
that gives you just a lot more to offer, not a little bit, but a lot more to offer me.
Yes. So I have an undergraduate degree in chemistry and a PhD in nutrition and science, where I did more biochemistry. So if you want to talk about molecular or biochemical interactions, I'm right there. I can talk about those. And then I am a registered dietitian, so I can talk about clinical issues. So if you have a disease state, you have medications, you have a specific diet you need to be on, I can accommodate that when I'm making my recommendations.
And how many times does an athlete, if I'm the athlete, how many times might I see you if I'm trying to, get to my next, level of play?
Well, everybody comes at least once, and some people only come once, but it kind of depends on what your goal is. If we were working together over the course of the season, then we would set out a schedule of meeting every other week or every month. If you are trying to get to a goal race at the end of an endurance season, we might meet once a month, because it takes a while to practice your fueling strategies and your hydration and get me the data that I need. And you just need time in between the meetings to get me the information.
Right, well, to do what you've given me to do,
yes,
right, yes, which might be completely different than what I'm used to.
Yes, exactly.
So you work with the endurance athlete, you work with the high school athlete and the college athlete.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about those goals and how that athlete might differ from the weekend warrior, or better than weekend warrior here that I am.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize just how much high school and college athletes train. It's fairly common for them to put in at least 15 hours and often 20 or 25 hours a week. And if you don't fuel for that, you run the risk of all the consequences of underfueling. So bone issues, reproductive issues, immune issues, cardiovascular issues, psychological and cognitive issues. And so if you fuel appropriately, you can avoid that. And then there are specific issues for high school students. Can they drink during class? Can they eat during class? When is their lunch? Are they allowed to snack and drink during their training? What are their parents providing at home? What is the school providing? And specific issues for the college student. Is the dining hall open when they need to eat? Are they eating out of their room with a microwave and mini fridge? What are the teams providing when they're traveling, and what do they have to provide? So I can provide guidelines for all of that. Budget does come into play, so I have to accommodate that too. Right. So my recommendations are going to be a little bit different for everybody based on what they have and what they need.
I also think it's neat that because of your education, you recognize and know how to work with the growing and development body, because you might,
yes,
especially with the high school college highlight, you might meet that person, girl or boy, at 13 years old. They're going to be very different than when they're 18 and graduating.
That is very true. That is very true. So my recommendations do change over years for that sort of athlete.
Right, and I think that's really important. Now you also work with teams and coaches. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I can do education for the coaches. Maybe they don't know about supplements, but they feel like they need to. So I can go in and just say, here's what you need to know. Here's some resources. I also have an RD on retainer program where I can be hired to come in periodically over the course of a season and just answer questions. Parents have questions, athletes have questions. And then, or just show up before key events. So maybe you have a tournament and I come in with specific recommendations for the athlete, the parent, the coach. Here's things you need to think about here. Here are things you need to take along. Here are things you need to do when you get to your tournament. And then I give free team talks, 10, 15, 20 minutes of whatever the coach wants me to talk about, with time for questions afterwards. And those are always kind of interesting because I do get a lot of questions about the topic, but a lot of off-topic questions because somebody's always heard something from their aunt that they should be doing.
That's right, I'm sure. Well, and a little bit on that, we hear a lot about supplements and all that, and I'm sure that you utilize them. What's kind of your golden rule about supplements?
I always recommend supplements that have third-party testing, which means that they have label verification, so what's in the bottle matches what's on the label, which is not true for all of them. And then they also have banned substance testing, and really it's about managing risk, because if you are at any sort of pro or Olympic level or NCAA scholarship level, and you test positive for a banned substance, you could lose your contract, you could lose your scholarship, you could be kicked off the team, and that could be the end of your career. You could be out hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you have a product with third-party testing, that minimizes the risk. So I tend to recommend the products that are on, like Informed Choice, NSF certified for sport, banned substances controlled group, because I know that that's the best that I'm going to be able to find. And then from there, we look at the specific type of supplement and talk about, what kind of protein powder do you need, what kind of iron supplement do you need, and fine-tune it.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about working with the athlete?
I really like talking about food and the person's food history and food experiences because it's a good icebreaker and it kind of gets people talking to me a little bit, but I also just really like it. It's because everybody has a favorite food at Thanksgiving or something their grandmother made when they were little that they just love, or something like a great meal they had on vacation that they always remember. And so I find that extremely interesting, and then I can also sometimes get other preferences and likes and dislikes from the person that way that I can then put into my recommendations and make them a little bit better.
That's awesome. Well, I think what you do is fascinating, and I also think it's just the next great thing to do for athletes. I think we haven't valued nutrition a lot, and now we're getting smarter, and you're helping us. So thanks so much for stopping by.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And telling me all about it. I'm so excited for you and for what you can do for us athletes. So thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.